tarot cards are often the first step and basis for a seeker of metaphysical knowledge, like you, to discover your forever path. That could be astrology, numerology, healing arts, or any other spiritual interest you discover along the way. Elaine Ireland is not only a teacher of tarot, she is a mentor who supports you and will be there for you. Visit www.ElaineIrelandTarotMaster.com now and discover how Elaine's mentoring, tarot card and psychic readings, tarot card classes, and more help you to grow into the true being you are meant to be. Welcome to Conversations with the Ancients, where you're about to discover a whole different world than the one that, up until now, you've believed you're familiar with. World-renowned metaphysicist, practicing psychic, and tarot teacher Elaine Ireland invites you on a journey where you'll hear voices from the past, interviews with some of the greatest metaphysicians you've never heard of, because in their time, they needed to move with stealth. You'll also meet today's spirit mediums, healers, and others who will show you a side of the paranormal you've never seen before. Be sure you visit our website at conversationswiththeancients.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, hear the words of metaphysicians who blazed the trail. You're not in jail, thanks to them.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, this is Austin. It's morning time, Central Standard Time. This is Conversations with the Ancients, although you can clearly see that Cindy Hallett is not ancient, but she is highly respected in the work that she does. Last time we visited about light, among other things, entities, those icky things we try to get rid of. But today we're going to talk about Reiki, R-E-I-K-I. She just corrected me a while ago and told me that it was not healing. So what is Reiki?
What Reiki is, it's an energy from the universe. So when the universe vibrates at a certain frequency. Everybody has a vibration, everybody has a frequency, and we all vibrate there. The universe vibrates at a certain frequency. Think of it as a musical note. When we're born, we're in tune with that frequency. Think of a guitar strum, okay? As we live our lives and we get stressed and things happen, we pull out of tune. We unattune to that frequency. We're no longer in harmony. Think of a train whistle, okay? So things don't go well. They don't go smoothly. You have trouble all the time. It just seems like life is an uphill battle. So Reiki is energy that comes in from the universe into the practitioner and then goes into the client and retunes your energy to be in harmony with the frequency of the universe. So things work more smoothly, things go better for you, you're more relaxed. You feel more in tune. Imagine hearing a guitar strum constantly versus a train whistle constantly, which would put you more at ease. So that's what Reiki energy is.
The word energy gets tossed around a lot in our community.
It does.
And
yeah.
a lot. And I've had people ask, what makes one energy different from another? And I think what you just described in terms of the sound alone, for one thing, but I know I feel energy on my skin. I think all of us do.
Oh yes.
It's a little bit like getting the goosies, as some people say. You hear something beautiful or scary, and immediately you've got goosebumps. And that's a nerve. To me, it's a nerve reaction. Could it be a combination of nerve reaction and something going on in our ears, a fear or joy?
Well, okay. I think everybody feels energy. Okay. Energy is all around us. We felt it all of our lives. It's kind of like hearing. We don't go, oh, now I can hear. Now I can't hear. We're always feeling the energy. And it's how much attention you pay to that, how in tune you are to the energy you feel around you. Sometimes energy comes on stronger than others. I was shopping yesterday and I was about to back out of my parking space. And I'm like, there's something around me. And I'm a big proponent of watch where you're going. Ask any of my stepkids. especially if you're going backwards. So I kept looking behind me and looking behind me and looking, is anybody coming from the right or from the left? And I started to back out, and here's a pedestrian. I felt her. I didn't know I felt her. I felt something, but I felt somebody coming, and I couldn't figure out where from. So that was just kind of confirmation that we do feel energy. You feel it. Sometimes when you round a corner and you're feeling kind of, oh my goodness, something's really weird here, and you turn the corner and somebody's angry, okay? And you're like, oh, that's where that energy came from. Now, you might not consciously say that to yourself, oh, that was the pedestrian I felt, okay? But in there somewhere, in your mind somewhere is yourself, and not Elaine, because she's totally psychic. but for you, it is something going, okay, I felt that coming. I understood what it was. And now I know what it was, because now I can visually hear, see, smell, taste, or touch it. Okay. So we all have that sixth sense that people have been talking about for so long. We know we are so attuned to our five senses, and we are so attuned to energy that we don't understand how we feel it and process it, but we do. So if you can figure out how to feel and process this energy that's all around you all the time, and you feel it all the time, kind of pay attention. Okay, something doesn't feel right. Oh my goodness, there are people having a fight over there, or something this way, okay? Or I feel love. Oh, there's my dog. Yes. Okay. So, you will feel it, but you just have to kind of pay attention and notice what you're feeling. And that's just everyday energy. Now, Reiki energy, that's something kind of on a whole different level.
Go, girl. Tell these people what we're doing, what you're doing.
Okay.
I've taken my Reiki. I am a Reiki master, but I rarely use it.
Okay.
Rarely.
And we all have disciplines like that. So
Right.
we can learn different modalities. Some people like Reiki, some people like, oh shoot, I can never remember the name of it, where they use the big crystal and they reattune you. So they're different.
Oh, yes. I can't remember the name either, but all of a sudden I could see somebody doing it.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
And they're both valid methods. Again, are you a dog person? Are you a cat person? Which one do you like better? There's no wrong answer. It's what's right for you. Okay. Reiki happened to be right for me. And it was interesting because I'm going to give you a little history of Cindy here before I give you the history of Reiki. In 2007, I had a really old dog, and my mother-in-law came to visit and fell in our living room and broke her hip. I think I mentioned that last time. Mother-in-laws, you break them, you bottom. So I called a Reiki master here in Austin, and got some Reiki. It's okay.
It just struck my funny bone, because that is so true.
Yeah. You got to be careful.
Right. Okay. She broke her hip.
Yeah, so I called a Reiki master here in Austin, and a long time Reiki master. She was a very renowned. She's since retired. But Carrie, what is the matter with me today? Anyway, she did Reiki on my mother-in-law, and she did Reiki on my dog. And then I took Reiki from her, and she was a really good teacher. And she made these lovely manuals that we can follow and things like that. She did attunements. She was always there. She had these really, really cool healing circles where she would do pull in all the energy from the universe, whether it was Reiki or who knows what energy it was. Three Hearts Healing. There's all kinds of different modalities out there, and she did most of them. So she'd pull all this in there, and we'd all sit in a circle, and she just feed us this lovely energy. And I noticed the first thing that happens when I get energy is I straighten up. I straighten up. If I'm slouching, if I'm doing this, and I mentioned it one time at one of the circles, and somebody said, I do that too. I straighten up. Spirit's going to straighten us up. And then okay, here comes the energy. Here it comes. So it was just fabulous. It was just really, really wonderful. We had a great time. So let's talk about the history of Reiki for a minute. Okay. So Reiki was, I don't know if you want to say discovered or developed or whatever, by a Buddhist monk who went on a pilgrimage up to a mountain in Japan. And he was on a 21-day fast, and he was meditating and doing all the things monks do. And he was inspired by this, and again, we hear spirit a lot. You do too. He was inspired by this form of energy receiving. And so he developed, the monk is Mikawa Usui. And so you hear a lot about Usui Reiki, and that's the original form of Reiki by the monk who developed or downloaded or channeled this form of energy. And it can be used for a lot of different things. It's what Reiki does is it focuses this wonderful harmonized energy into whatever you, the computer when it's not working, right? The kitten, and retunes everything to work a lot better. So if you're in pain, obviously the piece that's in pain is in dis-ease, right? It's not eased. So you can retune the energy to be easy for you. Now, Reiki comes from two Japanese words, Rei meaning universal and Ki meaning life force energy. So Reiki, literally translated, is universal life force energy, which is what? Life, right? It's what keeps us animated, keeps us moving, keeps us thinking and healing and interacting, eating, and everything else that we do as humans. So that's kind of the, and then of course he taught this person, and this person ran with it, and this person ran with it. And that's one thing. I learned the pure Usui Reiki, and I like the pure Usui Reiki. Since then, there have been several different offshoots, such as Fire Reiki or Angel Reiki, or I don't know what, all different other kinds of Reikis. And it was funny because I was at a fair one time, and this gentleman was setting up across the hallway from me, and he was doing his Reiki, and I had my crystals. And he came up and he said, "I do Angel Reiki." He said, "Do you do Angel Reiki?" And I looked at him and I said, "Well, how would you do Reiki without the angels?" And he turned around and walked away.
Oh dear.
But because, and again, I'm an angelic, I'm not a shaman. I'm just my, once again, dog person, cat person, just my preference. I'm an angelic. I have nothing against any other form of spirituality. But I work a lot with the angels, and I work a lot with a lot of different things. And another funny story is I was doing a massage with a gentleman, and I asked him, he's more shamanic. I said, "Now, do you work with Archangel Raphael? Because he's the healing angel." And he said, "No, I don't work with Archangel Raphael." Now, he had just painted his office green, which is Raphael's color and the color of healing, right? And I said, "That's interesting. You might not work with him, but he works with you because he's here." I don't know if
Okay,
that
public.
out or not.
I think public, that's really important for you to hear her say.
Yes.
We may say we are not working with, when in reality, other energies are working with and through us. And it's okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's an okay thing.
Right.
Okay. I interrupted you. Go for it.
That's fine. Okay, so what Reiki energy is imagine a beam of light coming from the universe into the practitioner and then coming out the palm of the hand. So the chakra that's in the palm of the hand, and that or out, possibly out all the fingertips as well, because we have chakras everywhere. And that energy goes into the client. Now, I don't have to be touching you, and Reiki was originally invented to be a healing, touching form of energy transmittal. The state of Texas, in its infinite wisdom, has determined, unless you have a massage therapy license, if you do Reiki on somebody and you touch them, you're a prostitute.
Oh, how clever.
Yay, Texas. So Reiki can be done off the body. It's fine. The energy will transmit, right? You don't have to be touching somebody to give them energy. As a matter of fact, a lot of times you'll be seeing the Reiki Master kind of finding where is the edge of oh, there it is. Okay, I feel it now. I'll hold right here. There's the edge of the energy field that I want to fill with this universal energy, this life force energy. So, and I'll do that. I'll kind of find the edge. Oh, there it is. Yeah. And sometimes I feel, especially when I'm working on somebody in person, now I do work remotely as well, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but I feel like somebody's standing behind me holding onto my hands going, okay, now put it here, now put this one over here, now put this one over here. And so I just let spirit move me like I'm a puppet. And it's really interesting. So that's one thing about Reiki. Now, Reiki, as you said, you got your master teacher certification.
Right.
Reiki actually has 3 levels of, well, actually 4 levels of
Right.
attunement. Okay. Level 1 teaches you the basic, how to get the energy in from the universe and get it out through your hands. It has certain classic hand positions that they want you to do. And they want you to practice pretty much on yourself. So, okay, so this is an important thing that I wanted to say today is that a lot of people come to me and they say, I want to be of service. I want to be a healer. I want to help everybody. And I say, okay, so how are you doing this for yourself? Oh, I'm not going to do it for myself. I'm going to do it for everybody. So if you're not healthy, can you make other people healthy? If you're not happy, can you make other people happy? Well, you can't make other people happy anyway, but so if you are doing this for the good of the community or the good of the world, pull in, pull in, pull in, pull in. You need to do you first. And the reason most people don't want to do them first or at all is because it's painful. All these hurts that we've had throughout the ages, throughout the different lifetimes that we've had, that we have to address, that we have to deal with, that we have to kind of unpeel that onion, right? That is not easy. Reiki helps to do it. A lot of things help to do it. First, you have to get rid of the entities. That's the first and foremost, hands down, bar done, anything. And then you can start.
I'm going to stop you right there. Folks that are listening, a couple of weeks ago, Cindy and I had our first conversation together, and it was about removing entities. So if you want to know more about that, go to her first conversation in our library under her name and learn about that. That way you'll understand a little bit more about what she's talking about first to do this. Okay, I'm getting out of your way now. Go for it.
Okay, and just to tag on to what Elaine just said, I am the entity doctor. That's my business. That is my specialty, is removing the negative entities from people. I do that first and foremost, over and above everything else. And let me tell you, Elaine, I am learning so much. They have taught me more in 2 weeks. Oh my goodness. They're just, my vibration is going up and up and up and up and up. It's just amazing. So, and if you want to know whether you have an entity, you might want to take the quiz at theentitydoctor.com. So take that quiz and see if maybe you have an entity on you. All right.
Would you say that most people have some sort of entity every day?
Not necessarily. No.
Okay.
No, not necessarily. Okay. They're I've seen people who are very, very young souls. They're on their less than 10th lifetime, okay? And they're still really well connected to the other side. And they can be living in a whole area that's just horribly infested with entities, and they just never get anything. It's almost like they live in a hurricane and never get wet, So they're different ones. So it's theentitydoctor.com. Take that quiz and see what you think. Shameless plug. There we go.
Not shameless at all. Helpful, useful. Yeah.
Okay. So also another plug here, vibration. I wrote a book on vibration. It's called Becoming the Entity Doctor. It's available on Amazon and in several different forms, whichever form you like. Once again, dog person, cat person. And it teaches you about vibration, how to raise yours, what happens when you do raise yours. Sometimes it's not always a good thing. Sometimes it's kind of not a good thing. And who to call when things kind of feel like they're not going well. So,
okay, I want you to take a breath and explain that. When you say raising the vibration, sometimes it's not a good thing. Why isn't it a good thing? What do people look for what would they be surprised by when they go into the effort to raise their vibration and they run into a glitch? What do they do?
It's not so much a glitch. And again, it's just like losing weight. You lose some and then you plateau, and you lose some and you plateau. But really, as your vibration rises, you get more attention from both sides, both the light
Okay.
side and the dark side. Okay.
Okay.
And if the dark side believes, okay, we can knock this one off her throne or his throne, and we can keep them down, and we can keep them from being a threat to us, they will come after you. That's when you need the entity doctor. Okay. Now, they come after me all the time. I don't care. I just knock them off their throne. So, but I have the ability to do that. Not everybody does. Also, when I have a friend who is a hypnotist, and she is always wanting to, like we were talking about, I just want to heal. I just want to heal. I just want to heal. Now, she has worked on herself, but when you heal, guess what? You take on what you're taking off other people. And you have to be really careful. That's not your intention. If I were wearing every entity I ever took off somebody, I would be dead long ago. Okay. So let's be very careful about that. So there's a lot to learn about. Everybody thinks, oh, spirituality isn't lovely, isn't everybody's happy, and the angels will sing, and nothing will ever happen that's bad, and we'll never get angry. And it's like, well, first of all, we're still human. We still have human emotions. We still go through the stuff that everybody goes through. Second of all, it's not all pretty. Nothing's all pretty. I mean, if you go out into the wilderness where the scenery is gorgeous and you have wild animals and you have things to look at and flowers to smell and berries to eat, is that all going to be beautiful and nothing bad is ever going to happen? No. You can get into trouble. You can get into sticker bushes and all kinds of nasty things out there, things attacking you or whatever, ants, So think of the wilderness that we were just in times the universal energy, or the amount of space in the universe, the amount of beings in the universe, and the amount of planets in the universe. There's a lot out there that we just don't know. So anybody who tells you they know everything, run. They don't know everything. And like I say, I'm learning a lot more about entities that are attacking people here, humans and animals. I don't know everything. I'm never going to know everything. Are you kidding me? I'm human. And I ask, can I take a peek inside of this all-knowing thing? And they're like, no, your head's going to explode. What are you, nuts? Forget it. So, okay. Spirit will tell you off. They will do that.
They will close the door if it's a nose that doesn't belong there.
Exactly.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So, and they'll tell you, butt out. I find something. I say, is this my responsibility to clear this? And they're like, butt out, Cindy. This has nothing to do with you. Get out of the way. So I get out of the way. You really need to listen to your angels. So back to Reiki. Dr. Usui developed or channeled or somehow different symbols that you can use in Reiki. And what they do is they direct the Reiki more focused on what the part you're working on. Let's say it's a sore shoulder or whatever. And it also, okay, how do I say this? It kind of tunes the energy to what you want it to be. For instance, this is a Jaku ray right here on the wall behind me. That's a Jaku ray. Then that's the first symbol you learn, and it's a basic symbol. It's kind of a general Reiki symbol. You use it kind of to turn on or turn up the Reiki, kind of like a dial, turning it up. And my teacher would say, well, I passed a deer that was near the road, so I send it a Jaku ray, and you always do 3 times. To keep it safe, to make sure it didn't get hit by a car or whatever. If something's dying, you want to send it Reiki, so it helps to retune that energy as it descends into the astral plane. So that's one of the symbols. Another symbol, this one's called Seiheki. Seiheki is more for healing. If you have something that you want healed, and so you can say Seiheki that, and so these different energies is kind of abstract. So imagine our guitar chord. Now, let's say we want a lower chord. Instead of blung, we need a blung. Okay. So again, that's focusing the energy a little differently. Or let's say we want a blung. That's focusing the energy a little differently again. So each of these symbols will focus that energy a little differently on your client. This long involved one over here is so that you can do distance Reiki. And then this is one of the master symbols over here called daikomyo. So there are different symbols, and people are like, oh no, the symbols are all secret. And I think the reason somebody put them secret is because you had to pay to get the Reiki class, right? But you don't want to just run around, start using Reiki symbols when you don't know what you're doing. I mean, that's like not knowing how to drive and hopping in the Maserati. It's not something you want to do. You want to make sure you get in the Ford first, right? And figure it out. And then you can work your way up to the Maserati. So a lot of people don't use any symbols, and that's fine. You use whatever symbols you feel you need. You can just say the name of the symbol 3 times as opposed to drawing it in the air. You can just draw it in the air without saying the name. It doesn't matter. You can say the name in your head. And that's what the Reiki symbols are used for. And those are the ones I use. There are a lot other Reiki symbols. You'll find a whole lot different ones for different functions, but I don't think you need every single one of them. Kind of like trigonometry, you don't need every formula that's ever been invented. You only need the ones that you use for your life. Okay. So those are Reiki symbols.
Some teachers tell us that we inherit in a DNA way the symbols in our body, and all they need to do is be activated. You were talking about symbols in your hand a while ago. My hands get hot when I'm around somebody that needs healing. I don't even think about it. And when I notice that my hands are getting warm because they're usually cold, I kind of look around and feel, even in a big crowd, like a psychic fair. And it's because I've used the symbols, but not publicly and not very much even privately anymore. I can feel it in my hand. Well, I was taught that the symbols are in our body somewhere. Do you agree with that?
I
Without
never
us
thought
even
about
knowing
it.
that?
I'm sorry. I never thought about
That's
that.
okay. That's all right. Something to think about.
And I might attribute it more to I'm more drawn to this symbol than I am to that symbol, or when I use this symbol, I get more response than that one. And again, I think it also depends upon your client and your client's DNA. You know,
That would make sense.
that
Yes.
theory that you're talking about. So maybe you never use Hanshe Shonin. That's a hard one. That's this one that's long and involved.
A complicated one. Yeah.
And maybe you feel the need on this particular client to use that. And maybe by using that Hanshe Shonin, you are extending the Reiki to the ancestor that has started this issue and brought it back to their ancestor that you're working on. I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of, if you really want to dig into the who, what, why, where, and how, which I do not do, because spirit won't answer me. And they won't tell me who, what, when, where, and how. This is why I'm not a fortune teller. Okay. I don't do predictions. I don't really delve that deeply. I'm sorry. I use
No, that's okay. I've heard it both ways. I've heard teachers say you already have the symbols in your body. All that's needed is to activate them.
Okay.
And then I've talked to other teachers that said no, only certain people have access to the use of the symbols. So I guess
again, there are people that are ready to do this work. There are people that are not ready to do this work. If you're married to somebody who's not ready to do this work, don't drag them in with you. Honor their journey. If they want to watch football or play on the computer, honor their journey. Don't make them do what you're interested in. Okay. If you're interested in, go do it, absolutely. But you don't want to rock on your back when you do it. you want to be free.
So. Absolutely. Agree. Okay. You were talking about the symbols.
Okay. Yeah. So those are the Reiki symbols. And again, you can use them. You can not use them. You can send them distance. You can, if somebody is hurting, somebody's about to pass, or you have a friend whose relative is about to pass, you can send them Reiki, you can send the relative Reiki. Reiki doesn't hurt people. So if you are, let's say you have high blood pressure and you call me and say, Cindy, I have high blood pressure, I want some Reiki. It will not interfere with your medication. It will not interfere with any other therapies that you're going through. Sorry. If you're going through homeopathic or Western medicine or whatever, it won't interfere with that. Now, I have one caution about using Reiki. Okay. And I don't think my teacher agreed with me, but this is my theory, and take it for what it's worth. I don't use Reiki on people with cancer. Because Reiki expands everything and makes everything, lovely and growing and open. And so if you have cancer, you really want to make sure you're condensing that. And if you're doing a Reiki session on somebody with cancer, you need to make sure you're really confining, encapsulating, let's say, which is what I do with the bad guys on the entities, encapsulating that bad guy and making sure that you are not making it blossom and spread. So that's one caution that I say with Reiki. Other than that, it really shouldn't hurt you. Reiki is not a right in your face. It's like, oh my God, I'm getting Reiki. It's not that way. I was doing an audition for a guy at a health club. I was wanting to do Reiki there, and I had him lie down, and he had a boo-boo knee. So I was working on his knee, and I was working on, I guess, 10, 15 minutes. And somebody said, excuse me, we need this room. You need to leave. And so we went, okay. And so he got up and he went, wow, I'm not grounded. I'm really lightheaded. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't get a chance to ground you after your session. We just had to get up and leave. And so he didn't understand or feel until he stood up how impactful that energy was for him. Now, when I do my entity clearings, I kind of leave my body and go into this kind of other external dimension kind of thing. And you might do the same thing when you're doing readings. I'm not sure. Everybody works differently, but it's almost like you kind of rise above your body and get into that healing space of the universe. And then you can kind of come back down. And that's why, again, it is so important when you're doing Reiki on somebody, especially in person, especially at your residence where they're going to get in the car and drive, to ground them. You have to ground them. You have to make sure that they are back in their bodies and they are fully functional before you let them leave your office, because you don't want somebody just kind of driving along in traffic. So that's really important about Reiki. What else about Reiki? Okay.
Do you give people something to snack on before they leave your resident, or after a session? Some people do. After a reading, after a healing thing, they'll give them a little bite of chocolate or something to help ground them.
That's an idea. Or you could bring your own,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm allergic to everything,
Especially,
so nobody wants to eat
yeah.
what I eat. Another
Years
part of
ago, one of
your
the
vibration rising is you get real sensitive to everything: light, sound, food, everything. It's challenging. It is challenging. Everybody thinks, oh, I'll just be the same and I'll just be really cool. It's like, no, you are really cool, but you definitely aren't the same.
drink water and eat something before you get behind the wheel of a car.
Right. Or juice. You can
Yeah.
have, whatever.
Something.
Yeah. Make sure you bring stuff with you. Make sure you have your own provisions. I prefer to do distance Reiki. Okay. Now, we talked about the different types of Reiki. How everybody's kind of taken and run with it. And I know Linda Drake, we know Linda Drake, she channels Abraham. She said she used to do Reiki, and then she did Fire Reiki, and it just took her Reiki to a whole different level. And that's great. And that's perfect for her. And she teaches it. I think she's off this year, but, and then there's the angelic Reiki. Now with my Reiki, well, let's start with, I was in Sedona, and my friend and I, Diane, hired a guide to take us around and show us the different vortices and, the different highlights of Sedona. And he said, well, I do Reiki, but I don't use Reiki for what it's supposed to be used for. And I'm like, supposed to be used for? I said, neither do I. And he thought he was just so special. But people use Reiki for whatever it is they want to. I'm not sure what he used it for. He was a shaman. That's great. And maybe he used it on the land. Maybe he healed the land with it. Maybe that's what he did. I didn't really inquire. With my Reiki, I have taken to, in a remote Reiki session, you will get Reiki. You will get your auric field cleared. And then I will attach your energy to the center of the earth and the top of the universe. So it kind of gets that energy thing going on. And imagine that you're in this giant infinity loop and you're the very center of it. You know, it's going to the top of the universe and the bottom of the center of the earth. And you are the conduit of all that energy coming in. How yummy is that? And then after that, I will balance your chakras. So with my remote Reiki, that's what I do. So I don't do just plain Usui Reiki. So I give people a lot more because, again, we are dealing with energy. So that infinity loop thing, that's all energy. Chakras, that's all energy, getting those in balance, balancing the energy of the chakras. Imagine a wheel that's out of balance on your car and it's doing this, right? And you don't want to walk around with your root chakra doing this all day because you will just not feel grounded at all. So we need it to go ahead and spin like a normal tire or chakra would spin. So it's very important to balance your chakras. I do have a chakra balancing meditation on my website if you're interested in doing that for yourself. There are actually two. There's a long, slow, relaxing one. Diane said she's never made it all the way through the 33 minutes and she keeps falling asleep. But then there's one you can put on your car while you're driving to work. And I used to balance my chakras when I worked outside the home because it was a 30-minute drive. By the time I got there, I was at my crown chakra. It was great. And it got to the point where when I was driving down the road and I'd stop at a stop sign and I'd be on the yellow chakra, solar plexus, and I'd see somebody in the yellow shirt crossing the street. And then I get up to the blue chakra and I see a blue car going by. Spirit will just show you these symbols and let you know you're on the right track and you're doing what you're the best thing for you to do. They will show you that. So, and again, that's part of paying attention and noticing these things. And it's pretty cool how Spirit will show you how you're doing. So there are all kinds of different ways to use Reiki. Again, people call it Reiki healing. It's not really Reiki healing, but if you take a boo-boo knee and you align it and you allow it to do what it's supposed to do, it will heal itself, won't it? Right? Or a liver or a heart. If you make the conditions favorable, it will take care of itself. So it's not the Reiki that's doing the healing. So if somebody says Reiki healing, that's a misnomer. That's not really what it is. They're trying to condense it down into something marketable, if you will.
Marketable.
Like Fire Reiki or Angel Reiki. And I always saw those as kind of marketing techniques of variations on a theme. But again, I haven't taken them, so maybe I'm not judging them totally fairly. Linda Drake like
Linda had to go to the Edgar Cayce Institute. I think she had to go out of state.
Okay.
To an institute and be accepted, if I remember correctly, be accepted to the fire training.
Wow.
It was my understanding, and I could be wrong, it was my understanding that only Reiki masters that had been working for a certain amount of time were even allowed in the fire classes. So, and I'm not sure what made them different in terms of, other than, like you said, a different modality of the method. I think that's probably a safe explanation. But I remember her telling me that when she took it and began using it, and she's certified to teach it too, it really changed her practice.
That's amazing. That's great.
It opened something in her. I don't mean to speak for her, but I think she went with the intention of improving what she already had. And yes, she did that, but it also opened other areas of her as somebody that could share that method.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, and I have not experienced Fire Reiki, so I don't know. Linda is, yes, taking some time off to catch her breath. I don't know when she'll return, and I don't know what she will be doing. I know she's doing an occasional reading every now and then, but she's not doing any teaching that I know of right now. So I say that, folks, because if you wrote the name down, be prepared to be put on a waiting list. I don't want you to be disappointed. So
Yeah.
call Cindy right now. Call Cindy and
I'm here.
get her.
I'm here for you.
Yeah,
I'm here
right,
for
and get
you.
her to do what needs to be done for you. I know I'm going to be making an appointment to do some entity removal.
Thank you.
I got
Thank
that
you.
in a dream the other night,
Ooh,
and early morning actually. So I thought, okay, I'll do this. Obviously, it needs to be done if I'm getting in my dreams. The message came in my dreams, so I'll be setting that up with you soon. Okay.
right.
Anyway, what next on your
Okay.
wonderful
Well,
list to teach us?
I realized that I kind of dropped the ball. We were talking about the 4 different levels of Reiki, and I only talked about one.
Okay.
So let's talk
Well,
about the
is
other
this
2.
and you've shared everything you want to about number one?
I think so. Yeah,
That's
it's
not
it's kind of a basic how-to. Here's
okay.
how to get the energy in, and hold your hands here, and then you hold your hands here, and then you hold your hands here. Um, level 2, you get the symbols. You get 3 of the symbols, and so it takes it at a much higher level. And so I was level 2 for like 9 years, and I was going, oh, this is wonderful. How could anything ever get any better than this? This is great. And then I decided to take my master practitioner attunement, master practitioner. Okay. So that's level 3. So I took my level 3, and it was like, woo, straight up in the air. I couldn't believe how high my vibration rose. And again, if you're trying to raise your vibration, something like Reiki is a good thing to help you with that. And then I took my master teacher. So that's level 4. Now, I don't
Okay.
teach it right now because I figure everybody and their dog is teaching Reiki. I don't need to be part of the pack. Okay. I tend to do things that are fairly unique, like entity removal or doing the Reiki. And what's so fun about doing a remote Reiki is when you're doing a in-person Reiki, there's only one of you, right? And you can be at the head, or you can be at the feet, or you can be in the tummy, or you can be at the knees, right? When you're doing remote Reiki, I start with 6 Cindy's. Now, who could possibly take 6 Cindy's? Oh my God. But so one's at the head, one's at the feet, one's at the torso on the right and the left, one's at the legs on the right and the left. And I was a ballet dancer, and so for me, energy pulls. When you try to hold your leg up, you don't try to hold it up, you pull, and the energy goes out your toes, and it just kind of stays there by itself. So I'm all about pulling the energy through the limbs. And a lot of times, if you have like a bad hip or you have a bad, a cramp or something this way, it's because the energy is stuck. I have removed a migraine headaches because the energy got stuck right here. And if the energy's stuck right here and it's coming up, what's going to happen? You're going to get a freaking headache. Ow, ow, ow. So I pulled the energy up and out, up and out. Took me 10 minutes. And the lady didn't have to go home. She was fine. She didn't get a headache at all. Now, I'm not saying all migraines are the energy stuck. I've tried that on other people and it hasn't worked. Okay. There are different sources of headaches, right? But another thing you need that I tell a tale on myself. When I got the 1-2 attunement, I did it in one weekend. I did a Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 in the same weekend. Now, again, then I waited 9 years, then I got the 3. You will find where the energy is stuck in your body because I had to go to the chiropractor and get it pulled out. It was so stuck. I had to borrow my mother-in-law's cane to get there. I could barely walk because the energy got stuck in my hip and my torso area. So he had to pull that energy out to get me loosened up so that I could start flowing again. Again, that was my very first time, with the Reiki and the very first weekend. Another thing that's cool about taking Reiki locally is that a lot of times your teacher will have a Reiki, like a Reiki share. It's called a Reiki share. And every third Thursday of the month at 7:00, you meet at the office and everybody gets Reiki and everybody gives Reiki. Now, here's the tricky part. When you're giving Reiki, you're getting Reiki, okay? Because it goes through you into your client. So you are still getting the Reiki, not like 6 people working on you getting Reiki, but, or 6 Cindy's working on you getting Reiki. But you are still getting the Reiki. So those are fun. And you also get to share information. You know, what I learned is that when I do this and then I do it this way, I can get both the bottom and the top at the same time, even if I have a virtual hand that goes under. And that's another thing about virtual Reiki is you're not limited to 2 hands. You can have 6 hands if you want to. You can have long arms, actually. I don't, you know, you can do whatever you need to do. Your imagination is the limit, is your limit. So if you want to have 6 Cindy's with 6 arms and just think how much Reiki you're giving to that person, oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? So that's another thing about Reiki. And that's why I prefer to do it virtually. Now, if you want to come to my house, I'm in Austin, Texas.
In the hill country.
In the hill country. It's a long way for some people. A lady in LA
Yeah.
had to come for a consultation. It's like, no, don't do that. And again, you may feel the Reiki more intensely in person than you do virtually, but it doesn't reduce the effectiveness of the Reiki when you do get it virtually. So if you have somebody locally that you like, that's great. Use them. Absolutely use them. And you can ask them about how they do the Reiki, what symbols do they use, you know, whatever you want to do. So it's a lot of fun, and it does help a lot of people. I've got a friend who only got the Reiki at a fair. And of course, at a fair, I used to do Reiki at fairs, and it's just so hard to concentrate. You can't really focus, and you end up pulling the same problems out of people again and again and again. Just kind of the surface problems, and you never get kind of deep into what's going on because it's 15, 20 minutes, right? Or 10 minutes or something. So he came to my house and he got Reiki, and he was like, whoa, I've never had Reiki like that. Holy cow. And it took him a while to ground. Even though I grounded him, it took him a while to kind of come back into his body because he went way up in the air. So that's another thing about Reiki. Oh, what else to say about Reiki? Let's see. I really enjoyed it. I think it's helped me. And again, I think my energy is tuned into the Reiki. Other people's are tuned into different other modalities, which is fine. Whatever works for you is great. We're not going to diss any other therapies. Reiki was developed through a Buddhist monk, but it has no religious connotation whatsoever. It is simply energy from the universe. So if you call that universal energy, God, the universe, spirit, Buddha, Muhammad, I mean, whatever you call it, great, do that. That's no problem at all. I tend to call it spirit because it's more generic. And if people are offended by God, then I don't offend them. I have one client who's offended by the word spirit.
Yeah, I've heard that before too. It's God. There's only God. Okay.
Well, not in my experience, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. It takes a village, right? You know. So, what else do we want to know about Reiki?
I want to know why or if this gentleman wrote about the creator, we'll call him the creator of,
Usui?
actually, I want to call him a channel. I want to call him a channel.
Yes.
Did he write about why he was chosen for that journey?
I don't know that we ever know why. I mean,
I just wondered what he might have had to say about the responsibility he was given. I mean, he created a endless amount of, shall we call them healers or people who had the ability to help others heal themselves with the symbols. That was a big responsibility.
it was
to be chosen as a single unit to do that.
He died in 1926, so actually Reiki hasn't been around all that long. When you think if he died in 26, then he was probably born in what 1880, 1890. So I haven't studied him per se. I've just studied the discipline, so I really can't answer your question. I'm sorry. I'm sure that you can read some of his writings. It's Mikao, Mikoa, Usui, Usui. Mikao Usui. That was the monk that was the channeler, the channeler of Reiki, who figured it
And he
out.
did write about it, obviously.
Yes,
So
yeah. Well,
do
mostly
you
he
remember?
had students. He had like he had students, and they chose one student to make them the Reiki master, and then that master taught other students, but unfortunately broke away from Usui. I don't know. It's a big political thing. Unfortunately, what I've understood is that this group wanted to steal it from that group. I don't know. Anyway, it was that's one of the reasons I was kind of stayed out of it, because I really don't care for the tit for tat. So
Years ago, I remember there was a big to do about how dare you teach the public about Reiki, and people who were teaching it. Maybe that's why the Edgar Cayce Center. I think it was the Edgar Cayce Center. Public, if you're hearing this and you know better, let us know. They wanted to centralize it and make sure that it was taught properly. That, I think, was a big part of it. They just didn't want everybody to be out there teaching whatever they thought was correct. They wanted the original teachings to be right, controlled, and you couldn't. You had to go there and stay for X amount of months and live on campus, which was not expensive. I mean, not cheap. And then you came home for a year, you practiced it, then you went back for Reiki 2, did the same thing. Then you went back for Reiki 3. Then you went back for the 4, which was the master of. But before you could go do that, you had to work with the master for a certain amount of time. And they said, yes, this person, or no, this person is not ready to be a master. Go back and take 3 over again and come back. It was a way elongated, very thorough introduction to Reiki. And I did and the only reason I know this was because I was invited to do a tarot class, a long tarot class at the home of 2 Reiki masters. And they were both professional people. One was a doctor, one was a therapist. You've got science and spirituality involved here in this home, which was great. And that's what they had to do. They went to the institution, and they both went at different times because they couldn't both be gone from their home and family
for a
all at
year, yeah.
once. But yeah, and I was 6 months, 8 months, and then you came back and you practiced. Then you applied to go forward. But it's when you got to the 4th level that you had to work with a master first before you could be accepted to go back and become your master. And now we're doing 1 and 2. And like you said, you waited 9 years before you went to your 3.
Right.
Was that something you consciously did
Yeah.
or instinctively did? Because the number 9 is completion, but new beginnings.
Yes.
So if you waited 9 years for a reason, or if you just didn't get around to it, or you felt you weren't ready, or there was nobody that you really wanted to teach you the next level, that's a biggie.
Yeah,
Public, that's a
I felt
biggie.
that. Yeah, I didn't feel I needed it. I felt that too was amazing and adequate and totally what I wanted to do. But then I got to the point where my vibration was rising, and I was focusing more on my services and my gifts. Because when I took 1 and 2, I worked outside the home. I was not a spiritual person. I was not a woo-woo person. So then
At least not consciously.
right, exactly. I
You
didn't
were.
practice it anyway. And so when
Yeah.
I started practicing it, then I decided, well, let's go back for 3 and see what that can offer. And then it was like, boom.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was wonderful. Um, as your vibration rises, you want to be careful to monitor it. Okay. You don't want it to go from 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. You will explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to
And it
go.
hurts.
Yeah, I mean, you don't expect your newborn baby to start doing trigonometry, right? You expect them to start talking first, and then alphabet, and then we'll talk about numbers. I mean, there are levels that we need to go through, and people want to just shoot up. I just want to be there. I got news for you. There's no there. There's no there. Everything's on the path. Everybody's like, I just want to get to my destination. Your destination is the astral plane. You don't want to get there yet. You're not ready. Okay. You're still here. You're still doing your stuff. So everything's a path. It's just, how's your path going today? Yeah. Okay.
You just said the title of your next book.
Did I? Which one is that?
There is no there.
I love that.
Public, really hear that. There is no absolute destination in one's growth. It is a continual journey from lifetime to lifetime. And even those of you that do not believe in reincarnation, your spirit has been on a journey. Even if you believe it's just this lifetime, you get one lifetime.
And your body does only get this lifetime.
Yeah, it only gets this lifetime. That's the trick.
Yeah.
And there are those that do not absolutely believe in reincarnation. And some of that is religious training, some not. But the journey goes on forever.
Yes.
Even when they put the body in the ground, the spirit doesn't die. No. But they believe that spirit doesn't get to come back in another body. It gets to go hang out. Maybe.
Right,
I've
right. Or if it gets stuck here,
Yeah.
it's called a lost soul. If it comes back to visit, it's called the deceased loved one. Get my book. I'll explain everything to you.
And the name of your book is?
Becoming the Entity Doctor.
There you go. Okay.
It's my journey. It's about when I started at square one to getting here today. And that hasn't been but maybe 10, 12 years. So,
It's time for another book called There Is No There.
There is no there. I like that one.
There is no there.
You're always on your path. Yeah.
Yep.
Love
and
that.
you come to detours and you come to locked doors and you come to big wide doors and you go, really, that's for me? I don't think so. And somebody gives you a push. Yeah. Anyway.
Exactly.
So what of all of your Reiki levels, and by the way, I do believe there are more than 4. I always have.
Okay.
I don't believe we get stuck or stopped at a certain place. And very much in healing modalities, I think that's even more important because as we grow, our abilities grow.
Yes.
And we bring to us different levels of clients that need the harder work done. So, like you said a while ago, you have to heal yourself before you can heal others. And we pull, in my opinion, so like doing readings, we pull people to us that are ready to hear what we have to say. Perfect. Or at least hear it if they don't know what to do with it. And for me, healing modalities, I've always been fascinated by healers. Either I believe everyone is a healer to some degree, even if they just know how to put a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid that person didn't have before. But people like you, that's a whole different, as you would call it, vibration. To be able to do what you do. And not everybody in the metaphysical world can do that. I had a doctor tell me one time that we as a group, practitioners group, really did not understand how powerful the sound of our voice or the words that we say are important to a client, very much like the needles he pokes in people. He said, I personally do not understand why you don't realize how powerful you are on the level that you are. It really surprised me. And he didn't mean just me. He meant the community as such. And I've never forgotten that because that came from a scientist, a group of people that do everything they can to debunk us. And he said, no, as a doctor, I see it all. And he'd been in probably 30 years by that time, nearing what he considered a semi-retirement stretch. And he said, I've seen too many things in and out of the hospital, in and out of surgery that I cannot explain.
Yes.
I cannot explain. He said, I've had way too many people come to me and say, I have a feeling that. Would you please check for? Or I went to see a psychic and I'm going to be crazy, but they said to look for it and it was there.
Yes.
And he said, we can't see things. Then, of course, MRIs and whatever's CAT scans were not as sophisticated as they are now, and they didn't catch everything. They didn't, but yet it was there, and it was too easy to say, well, it was too small to see, or it was hidden behind. Well,
Right.
now there's no hiding behind. They can find a lot more. But he said then we would just be stunned when somebody would say, "No, it's there. I know it's there. I trust my psychic, trust my whatever," or whoever they were going to. He said, "So no." He said, "My friends and I," which I thought was an interesting phrase. He said, "We know that you get real information, and we don't understand why you're not recognized. Like you were saying, the state has declared if you put your hands on, what's the difference?" They don't understand that. That's because our cultural thing about touching the body could be inappropriate. Why do so many of us become reverends so we don't fall under that cap? Because reverends can do touch healing. Even if
I'm
they
a reverend.
slap your forehead, that's touch healing. So, yeah. But the work that healers do and claim themselves to be healers, because that's a very brave statement. And part of the reasons I created Conversations with the Ancients is to let people know that people like you and your practice, you're brave enough to stand up and say it. And because folks like you have done it, we don't go to jail.
Yeah.
People that came before you went to jail because they did it and were
Yep.
brave enough to do it in public.
Yeah.
In public.
Yeah.
And the healing part of our community, the healers of our community, not just the psychics, but the healers were the ones that really got hit many, many times. They got ran out of their other professions because they did that on the side. They got put in jail. They got put in mental institutions because religion said only Jesus,
Yeah.
only whoever in the Bible can heal, even though God says, I created you in my image.
Well, we are an extension of God. Every single one of us. Every single one of us have
Right.
God inside of us. You
So
too.
the
Yes, you
legal
too. So,
the
I
the
mean,
legal the legal system wasn't listening to the whole, but they thought they were trying to protect,
yeah,
you
left
know,
brain. They're all
even
left brain. Yeah. Yeah.
right, even when somebody said, "Well, I didn't charge them anything. They gave you 5 eggs." Yes, you did. To jail you go.
Oh dear. Well, I was
Yeah.
looking at a lady I'd met at a Reiki share. We'd hit it off right away. I never met her before. And I was working on her. And I'm like, okay, have you had a mammogram lately? Because I'm kind of feeling something weird. And I said, definitely have them check your right side, your right breast. And she's like, I haven't had a mammogram in a couple of years. I'm like, go now. Run, do
Yeah.
not walk. And I don't know whatever happened with that. I never saw her again. But we pick stuff up. We can say, okay, this feels normal. Then bzz, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
have a consultation with me and I'm tuning into somebody, I'm going to go, what the heck was that? Okay, hold on. Let's figure out what that was because that was not normal. And you can feel it too. You feel it when your kid's sick. You feel it when your pet's sick. Um,
Yeah.
you can
Something's
feel it.
different. Something's off.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
The energy isn't smooth like it should be, right?
Right.
So yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that's really interesting that people we used to be jailed for trying to help others. That's sad. And
But it was too common, and that's why when we started developing this site, um I said that to and wrote it somewhere. I want the public to know about these people. They are an extension of people 30 years ago and older that literally, kind of like the witches got burned. The version then was go to jail or get run out of town, or your reputation was ruined and you had to run for your life, and we're still kind of there. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still kind of there. That's why I didn't have cards made until I was in my late 30s.
right,
I most of us worked by referral.
yeah. And sales
And
tax considers a healer as an entertainer, not as
right,
an
yeah,
and
we're
yeah,
still entertainers. And we were advised by legal people on your cards for entertainment only. And oh, the first people that came on the internet, oh my God, it was bad. Some dropped their sites. almost overnight. My site, which was a beautiful tarot site, was taken over by a porno group out of the country. I mean, anything to make it difficult for us to advertise. And even now, I'm getting ready to go back to cards that don't even have the word tarot on them. I know
Really?
that sounds odd, right? But there are different ways of advertising now. You can have that little funny little squiggle thing on the bottom and you can hit your phone at it. Well, if you just have your name like a calling card,
Hmm.
and like my future cards are going to be calling cards, basically. That's it. But it's also for simplicity, not out of fear. It's for simplicity. Once your
Right.
name is out there and a phone number, a way of reaching you in today's world, I don't care where you live, they're going to find you. And for the most part, most police departments have a list of who's real and who's not. The
Well, that's one
detectives
thing
know.
you can guarantee, folks. If somebody's on Elaine's show, they're the real deal. Because Elaine
Well,
will
thank
know.
you for that.
She knows, she can spot a fake a mile away. So nobody will be invited on this, on discussions with the ancients without her vetting them. So I am honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that. You're right. And right now, what was interesting when I started making the list of who, and I this site is set up with newbies, but for the most part, they've been doing this for 5 to 10 years publicly. Often they've been at it longer than that. And the established and so on, they're different arms, I call them. And the last one is the legends. Those are the ones that have already passed. So they will be discussed in absence by family, friends, clients, so forth. But when I sat down to do this, the ones that came to mind immediately were when I looked at the list, I went, God, all of these people have been doing this for 20 plus years.
Yeah. And
I had to go back.
you're cool. You know all those people.
I know them. Yes, I've traveled with some of them. I've watched their client their work grow. Some of us started out as having been working for the public, but not doing fairs because fairs were a fairly new thing. Rita Brown, bless her heart, she's going to go in the Legends group. She was technically the first promoter in Austin, Texas,
Cool.
with a little bitty group of people. And I was fortunate enough to be one that was invited to, well, it started when we had Aquafest. I don't know if
Okay.
you were around for
Yeah,
Aquafest. It
I
was
was.
so long ago. Yeah, so long ago. And one of the captains was a woman that she'd done a chart for. And the captain said, y'all would be really unique and have a good time and come on and come do this. And so she got a group of about 6 of us. And all of us happened to be people that had been doing this for a long time. We read at the Aquafest in what was the big round building that had windows from the ceiling to the second or third floor. I can't even remember how tall it was, but it was hot. It was because they put us in front of the windows. Aquafest was held in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
People were so
In
excited
Austin.
about us. And everybody had to line up. They had to stand in line. And whoever was free, they didn't get to sign up for anybody. You got whoever was next available. Really. And there was always a line of 20 or 30 people. And we read from the time it opened in the morning until the time it closed at night. And there'd
Wow.
still be a line. And
Wow.
we read for $10 for 15 minutes.
Wow.
That was
Can you
it.
imagine how many
Everybody.
angels are there? No, well, okay, like that guy go. No, good.
Right. Directional, right? And there was always somebody there because people were that represented the Aquafest because people were trying to slide around
Mm.
and hurry. So they literally did a roped in kind of thing on the second day.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. But these
Didn't know
people would
that.
help us tear down, which was simple. We didn't do fancy stuff, just took
Yeah.
our equipment and that was it. And they would walk us to our cars, getting
Wow.
reading. People would go to the bathroom with us, wanting to get a reading. It's the same thing at a busy fair now. I still see the same thing happening.
Do you?
But Rita Brown was actually the first one. So of course in here in Austin. and the fairs kind of came through and grew and grew and grew and nationally.
Cool.
So as a group, a lot of us would go together, or we'd say, "Are you going to be in Denver? Are you going to Colorado Springs? Are you going to Little Rock, Arkansas? Are you going? Can we ride together?
Yeah.
Share a room, whatever." So when I'm looking at that list, I'm going, "Holy cow, we got some cool people to have a conversation with." And I had to be really careful because so many of them were not newbies. They were the ancients. They were the established. It was real. I thought, I got to back this up. I've got to find some newbies that have been around long enough that some of them are kind of on the edge of newbie and established,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool. So it's been fun. It's allowed me to look at my past,
Good. That's wonderful.
and yet, yeah, and yet meet people that I'm going to get to watch grow. So
Yes.
it's exciting. It's exciting.
Right.
You,
Oh,
for one, have so much more to share with us
thank you.
and talk about the challenges you faced. We talked about chakras a while ago. You're very knowledgeable. I'd like to schedule a chakras discussion
Great.
for the future.
I love that.
But I want to know on a personal level,
Mhm.
when you were starting, what was your biggest challenge? Was it on a personal level? Was it on a professional level? Was it finding people to help you in a mentoring state, or something I haven't thought about?
I think developmentally, a lot of us, I think most of us, have a lot of trouble getting out of our own way. And
Is Kitty Cat wanting to come on
no,
screen?
no, dog wants to come. Dog wants to
Come
come.
on, baby. Aw. What's dog's name?
Dog is this is Sophie.
Hi,
Sophie,
Sophie.
she's an Anatolian Shepherd. Every bit.
Hi.
I didn't really understand what an Anatolian Shepherd was till she was already in my house. Now I know. Okay, here comes Cat. Here comes
Are
Cat. All right.
are they herders? Are you is your dog of the breed that is a herder?
And she was actually this dog. The breed was developed in Turkey, and what was happening is the cheetahs would attack the flocks, and the farmers would attack the cheetahs, and everybody died. Okay, so they put these huge dogs, and she's a small one. She's only 90 pounds. So the bigger one, the usually the females are 125 and the males are 150. But it deterred the cheetahs from attacking the herd, deterring the farmers from killing the cheetahs, and saving everybody's lives. So all they do is they hang out, and there's a really cool video that I like. It's called Roland Ranch, and they have three of these, and then some herding dogs, and they have chickens and sheep and goats, and one of them is just in love with the baby goats, and you see Bo, no Judge, making sure all the baby goats are okay and nobody's falling in the water, and it's so cute. And then if they hear the coyotes howl and they have a cat that's like recon cat over here, and all the dogs will run. So the
How
cats in
neat.
general.
Okay, back to your challenge.
Sorry.
Getting out of our own, well, no, I got you
Okay.
sidetracked. Getting
Okay.
getting out of our own way. But
Yeah,
for you,
you're having the dog lie down. So getting out of your own way, believing you can do this, understanding that you actually do have the power to do this, and believing what you're getting. And let me tell you, believing what you're getting, you're not always going to get the right answer. Okay. It's not 100% guaranteed that everything's going to be successful any more than it is in the three-dimensional world that we're living in today. So you kind of have to work through that. Oh, my dog's missing. Can you tune into it? Oh, I'm afraid it's dead. Oh, we found it yesterday. Understanding that we're all human. We do get misinformation as well as information, and trying to filter out what energy was that information, what energy was that misinformation. And sometimes that's really, really tricky. Even today, connecting with people, I was trying to connect with somebody's husband, and I got this energy, and I was like, oh, he's really jovial. She's like, no, he's not. You don't have the right person. And what we can do is we can actually put up a block, like a shield. You can't get to me. You can't see me. You can't check me, right? And have that as kind of a facade there. It's not easy to get through those. I'm sure you have that when you're doing readings, Elaine.
Right. Right.
Yeah, people are like, okay, what are you going to do? Tell me what about me, and if they're doing this, they're not interested. They don't want to. So I think it's understanding the energy, learning to trust yourself, learning to trust spirit, learning to trust what you're getting, rolling with the successes as well as the failures. I mean, again, this is not an exact science. People think, okay, I'm going to get on my soapbox here. Here we go. I had a lady
Go
call
for
me
it.
I had a lady call me one time and she said, well, you're a psychic. You must know everything about me. And I'm like, honey, I don't even know your name. So when you say psychic, people get a lot of different images in their head. Oh, you must be able to read me, or you're violating my space and you're trying to get my head when I haven't invited you, or all these different weird stuff. We only know what we know. I mean, I know Elaine gets information about somebody, especially if they're asking a question, she can kind of tune into that question and go down that rabbit hole there. I do with the entities, I can go down that rabbit hole there. But as far as I don't know everything Elaine can feel, and she can't know everything that I can feel. Again, it takes a village. This woo industry, this metaphysical stuff takes a village. Some people do Akashic records, which is the history of the lives that you've lived, everything you've thought, everything you've said, everything that's happened. Some people do psychic readings like Elaine does. Some people do Ambika, she reads the iris. Some people do palm readings.
Right.
Some people do Reiki or Theta healing or Three Hearts healing or something else, another mode. Some people can do readings while they're doing the Reiki. We have a lady, Fran, Caruso, who does that. So there's all kinds of different modalities here, and to figure out, especially if you're starting out and your vibration is just starting to rise, and you've read the book and you're prepared for what's coming. Again, I wanted to be a medium. I want to be a medium. I want to be a ballerina, right? And somebody said, no, you're good with the negative entities. And I'm like, yuck, I don't want to do that. That's ick. That's kind of like the trash collector of the metaphysical world. Ew. So guess what? That's what I'm good at. That's what I do. Sometimes we have to go, okay, that's what spirits picked out for me. That's what they wanted me to do. And that's fine. Although I was talking to another young lady and she's like, well, nothing's happening. I can't get my traction. I can't get going in this. And she's a Reiki master. And I'm like, okay, well, what is it that you want to do? Oh, I want to do whatever spirit wants me to do. I just want to be led. I said, that's a cop out. Stop it. Come back down here. What do you like? What gives you joy? What do you want to do? I just want to help everybody. I want to make everybody happy. I want to make everybody well. Stop it. I said, you're trying to make money and you are up here. The money's down here. You want to make money? Come back down here where we are, where the money is. Okay. So, and she's just trying to pay her rent and buy food. I mean, she's not trying to get rich off anybody. And people don't understand this. I apologize. People don't understand this. And on Facebook one time, two very intelligent people went, well, if you got these gifts, then you should give them away for free.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, doesn't everybody have gifts? Doesn't the plumber have gifts? Doesn't the artist have gifts? Doesn't the singer have gifts? I mean, doesn't the race car driver or the sports player have gifts? I mean, define gifts, right? And if I give them away for free, how are people going to reach me when I'm living under the bridge? Not able to pay my mortgage, not able to buy food or support my furry family here. It's not fair. That's just not fair. I had another person who called and he just wanted help. He didn't want to pay you and he had no intention of paying you. And I told him, look, here's the deal. Spirit has a rule. You have to have an energy exchange. If you call me intending to rip me off, whatever I do for you is not going to work. I will tell you that right now. It won't work because you are trying to cheat. There is no energy exchange. You have no intention of giving me energy in the form of money, in the form of other services, or in the form of kittens, whatever. So you have to have an energy exchange. That is a universal law. Now, If you want to do a reading for somebody and they do a Reiki for you, that's an energy exchange. If you want to bake a pie for somebody and they do a Reiki for you, that's an energy exchange. Okay, fine. But there are people who just want to give. And then what's left? Nothing. Think of a well that's not refilled and they keep taking water out of it. What's left? Nothing. So it's really important that, just like any other profession, the professional services provider is compensated fairly. And I do mean fairly. I don't mean exorbitantly. And sometimes it's hard for people to accept the fact that they need to be compensated for the gifts that they have. Okay.
Right.
That they don't feel worthy. Okay. Now we have, okay. Now here's something we need to be working on. Okay. This is something that made for theta healing or for hypnosis or whatever. There's something down there. You're not worthy. No, everybody's worthy. You're definitely worthy, of making a living, of being compensated for whatever it is that you're doing. And again, it's not all, your output is not always going to be perfect. Show me any profession anywhere that the output is always perfect. I mean, look at the space program. It better be perfect, but it's not. Things blow up. Hopefully people don't blow up. That would be good. So again, those are some of the challenges, is believing what you're getting, accepting the fact that you're not always perfect, because you're not going to be always perfect any more than anybody else. Show me any doctor that's always perfect. Okay. The reason I call myself the entity doctor is because that's the profession I can kind of equate my services to most closely. Not everybody's always, the diagnosis isn't always exactly right, Well, I thought it was this, but then we got into it. We found that instead. I mean, how many times has your mechanic called you and said, okay, well, we were digging into this and now we found that. And so we really need to fix that. Okay. Again, they couldn't tell. And there's sometimes where, like with me, I had a client the other day. I was like, there's something else there and I can't get to it. I don't know what it is. We have to get you cleared before I can see what it is. So it's kind of like it's buried down here and we're waking up here and I have to dig till I can figure out what this is. Those I think were the most challenging, were getting out of your own way, believing what you're getting. And the more you believe in what you're getting, the more you get the good, the accurate stuff. The more you doubt yourself, the more kind of on thin ice you are. So that's I'm going to say it, the universal law: the energy you put out is the energy you get back.
What you put in, you get out.
That's right.
The strength card. No.
Yes.
Not the strength card.
Right. And
what you put in is what you get out.
Exactly. And right now we're in a political, I'm sorry.
Oh, my cards are not coming in the way they usually pop in on me. Go ahead. Okay. Politically, yes.
Yeah, politically a charged environment, because we're just about to have the presidential election. I'm not sure when this will air, but everybody's lying about everybody else. And guess what? The energy that they're putting out, he said this and she said that, and they said this and you said that. And this negative energy is boom, 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 boom on everybody. And everybody's feeling it. The entire community is feeling this oppression, this negative, this lying, this and I was getting my hair done the other day, and my hairdresser said, I don't listen to it. I don't watch TV during this period. I don't give any stock to it. I don't, and so it's really up to you what energy you want to believe, what energy you want to embrace. Okay. And one thing that I've noticed with myself lately, it's interesting because I've been working really hard at not letting things bother me, not getting angry, not trying to retaliate against anybody, let things roll off your back. If somebody cuts you off in traffic, they just needed that spot more than you did. I honor that. Okay, go ahead. You have that. Not a problem. I'm going to get there when I get there. And I've noticed that things are starting to turn around a bit. The manifesting that I've been trying to do, the things I've been trying to bring into my reality are actually starting to produce. And so I attribute that to the energy you put out is the energy you get back. Another thing I've noticed is if you don't get all upset, and again, I'm a redhead. Elaine knows. We kind of have a temper. We kind of fly off the handle. We kind of have a way of but if we don't do that, oh my God, we're so much more relaxed. We're so much healthier. We're so much more at peace. It really is up to you how you want your life to be, and the decisions that you want to bring into your life, and how you can get them there. So that was kind of deep for a question, I guess.
Spirit just came right on through. You wanted to be a medium? Okay, you are a medium. Public, there is a psychic, and then there is a psychic medium. I used to think of them as one and the same, and I'd kind of laugh at, okay, come on, every psychic is a medium. But what that person was saying, I want Uncle Charlie to come through at my command.
Oh.
Okay, let's see if Uncle Charlie will come through. And 9 times out of 10, maybe they would. But a true medium is able to be open to the people that will come through. I don't call myself a medium. I call myself a psychic, but I'm a medium in a different way. I can be sharing a stage with a 100% medium. That's what they do. You can go, anybody can stand in front of them and say, I want to talk to my Uncle Charlie. And Uncle Charlie will show up. I can do the same thing. I might get a whisper. I might get who the hell does she think she is? I'll show up when I'm darn well ready. Okay. But the other medium, he's talking right, giving what all the information they need. But I will still get, tell her she's frying the eggs with milk. That's not good. This really happened, by the way. That's not good for her. She knows she's lactose intolerant. An egg and milk. What is she doing? And I said, when it was time for me to say something, the same thing. But that is the only thing that came through me to that lady. And my friend who was on stage said, now see how it works? He didn't tell me that because I was too busy talking to you. See, the spirit split. It was like you being in 6 places at one time. Psychic mediums are a group of people that have a particular talent. Psychics sometimes never receive information. And that's why I don't say I'm a medium, because I don't know if Uncle Charlie's going to come through. If he does, I will be glad to share with you. So when somebody comes to me, which is another reason why I like people to call me directly to make an appointment, I want to make sure I'm the right one they need to be talking to.
Right. Yeah.
Period. What is it you're looking for? Without telling me what your background, what are you looking for? Do you want to talk to your Uncle Charlie? If you are, I can't guarantee that. I get that in the conversation right up front. And then I'll give them 3 numbers and say, Uncle Charlie will probably come through these people without any difficulty at other. Have a great time. Tell them I said hello. If you want a psychic, and Uncle Charlie might like me and might come through, then we'll get along just fine.
Okay, so define a psychic, Elaine.
A psychic is one who leaves the door open for any information that is appropriate for that client or that person. We typically, I can't speak for every psychic, I get medical information.
Okay. I
get emotional information. I get names. Sometimes I'll say, who's Roger? Often when I do that, somebody will go,
yeah,
oh crap. And I'm very careful about that if I'm doing a couples reading. Very careful.
That makes sense.
I'll say, yeah. But sometimes it's usually their child's name or a sister. And sometimes it's sometimes it is somebody who's passed. And sometimes the name is not real clear, like Rosie. Not long ago, I got the name Rosie. And I said, Rosie, who are you familiar with the name Rosie? And the lady smiled with a sweet smile on her face. And she said, yeah, that was my cat. And I said, must be gone from your reaction. And she said, well, we have an appointment. I
Oh,
said, Rosie already knows what's going on. So spoiler rot, she'll be okay. We had
yes.
that talk. And another time, not long ago, I had a gentleman's name come up for a gentleman client, and I was on the phone, so I couldn't see his face, but I could hear his reaction. And I told him what this what this man was telling me, and he said, "Yeah, we buried him 2 days ago." Very flat. His tone was very flat. And the other gentleman said, "Yeah, he's mad at me. I died."
Oh,
Very flat, both of them. And I repeated that, and he started crying, and he said, "I haven't been able to cry until now."
good.
And I said, "Then you cry. I'll wait till when you're ready." And that was all that man said to me. That spirit would not tell me anything else. And the man had questions about his death, pretty serious questions. But I was not supposed to tell that man now, today, that day. And all I could say was, I'm not getting anything, which means you're not ready to hear the answers. So give it a couple of months, invite your friend into your nighttime meditation space, but first you have to get over being mad.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything. So psychics work on a multitude of levels in realms. Some do not discuss the deceased at all, or potentially they don't get it because that's not their thing. I happen to be one who can do a little bit of both, do a lot of psychic work on many levels, and I'm thankful when somebody else will come join me. That's the best I can do. Some psychics do not want to talk to the other side for whatever reason. Maybe they've been told early in their training that that's not where they need to be. They need to stay on their side of the fence. And then there are others who consider themselves 100% mediums, and that's all they do, period. Then there are the psychics. They're beginning to call themselves channels of universal intergalactic information. And they will come up with all kinds of information about beings, other planets, other universes, but they do not consider themselves psychic. Don't ask them a psychic question. They're not going to find your keys for you. And they're not going to talk to Uncle Charles. They're talking galactically. And that's a fairly new thing, even though Abraham kind of introduced that so many years ago. Abraham is a council of many beings, and psychics worked with Abraham. Many psychics worked with Abraham and did very well, just like the one that starts with the M. Oh dear, I can't remember his name. He was an angel who, well, no, he was a set of beings. Shouldn't have brought him up if I couldn't say his name. But that's what a psychic is. We're
Oh,
open to whatever the universe. What did you say?
like Malcolm,
You're
Malcolmite,
almost saying
Malcolm,
yes.
Malcolmite. I'm having trouble too.
No,
I know.
I
I work with Cimarron. I know I work with Cimarron. That's another group. So there are lots of
no.
groups of beings out there that will help you.
Yes, and that's was not always the case. Groups of beings were not always the case. The ones I've been running into, as far as like you just shared the name of one, I don't work with a group that I know of, that I know of. I may and I don't know it, but there are more and more because we're having so many more intergalactic energies coming through and interplanetary energies being born. They're coming in group form to help, to
Yes.
teach and to help. And to let us know that we really are more than just stars and stardust and starlight. We are, and we've been around a long time. But does that answer your question about what do psychics do?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
interesting having the tables turned on me.
Yeah. I've always heard that all mediums are psychics, but not all psychics are medium.
No,
Yeah.
that's absolutely true. Absolutely. I know a lot of mediums, psychics that want to have nothing to do with particular particular entities,
Right.
like Uncle Charles or whoever. They don't want to go there.
Like the ones I deal with. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially entities. They don't want to have anything to do with entities.
Yeah, a lot of
Nothing.
psychics refer their clients to me because this is scary stuff. And another thing about this work, especially if you're thinking about getting into it, excuse me, pardon me, it's not easy. It looks easy. You see me sitting in my little chair. She's not exerting any energy at all. But I can do a really brutal clearing and I am just wiped out. I mean, I have not stood up.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very taxing on your energy field because you are interacting with other energies. And just like you were saying, you start reading when the doors open and you don't stop until the doors close and people follow you into the bathroom. I don't know how the psychics do that so consistently for so many hours. I have my limits. I can only tune into so many people a day. I can only move so much energy a day. Because if you move too much energy, you tend to get sick. And you'll see that in my book too. When I was trying to get my vibration up and I moved a whole bunch of energy, a little more than I could handle. Imagine being at the gym and lifting the weights that are just a little too heavy for you. You go home and you're like, oh man, that hurt. I don't
Right.
feel this for
Right.
days. It's the same thing energetically. It's exactly the same thing energetically. You're like, oh man. So I don't know how you would do that all day long like that, one after the other, after the other, after the other. It was just that
It's interesting too, and I don't mean this to sound uppity or braggadocious, but I don't know how to explain it.
if you're doing it, so you can brag. Go ahead.
It it's the psychic fairs have really slowed down. Let's use that as an example.
Okay.
When there were fewer psychics in fewer cities at fairs, we literally had to block out a time to go to the bathroom or take a lunch or whatever, because people would sign up. Sometimes a half a day would be signed up for before I ever got to the fair. And that was true of almost everybody there, especially if they had been doing this for a long time and had a reputation and a following. Okay, that's hard because you're shifting total gears every 15 to 30 minutes, or sometimes depending on what the reader was doing. You have to shift gears and stay on schedule if you have a timed schedule. So many of us would have a front person that would take care of all of that and keep the timing, and we could go do our thing and not worry about the timing, and we had to stay on schedule because we're not here. We're sitting in that chair, but we're up here somewhere. We're doing our thing. Some of us, with some practice, would get a feeling about, okay, we need to wrap this up, because I'm one that's not going to sit there with a client in front of me crying and not wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do that to a client. I'll finish. That means somebody else has to wait. So I had to learn how to time out. I often would scratch out a space so I could allow for that to happen. Maybe run to the bathroom if nobody was there. But I also found out over time that the more experienced you are, and this is what I meant by braggadocious, so to speak, the more complicated readings you get.
Sure.
The harder ones, the more in depth. And I don't mean to be tacky here. It's different than, where is my next boyfriend coming from?
Yeah.
Where is my next whatever coming from? Rather than, do I need therapy because of this relationship shift? The longer you do the work, the more complicated situations are going to be brought to your table, whether it's at a fair or a private reading. Like yesterday, a lady asked me, when she made the appointment by phone, she said, I don't know how long I'm going to need for you because I've never worked with you and I don't want to talk right now. But what I would like for you to do, since I notice you only schedule 30 minutes or an hour, I would like you to schedule for an hour and a half. If we don't need it, I'll still pay you for it.
Good.
See, she already knew there was difficulty there for
Mm-hmm.
a reader to work with. and she didn't know me, but she was mature enough and sensitive enough about her situation. She knew it was going to take some digging. And yes, we started with roller skates and we did a 2-hour reading. I
Wow.
couldn't have done that at a fair.
No.
There's no way. And I've told people at a fair, I can only do this, but I
Yeah.
will be glad to continue it privately. And especially if somebody's in tears. I said, you need more privacy right now. I can either come to you or you can come to me or we can do this by phone.
Right.
But I don't think the public understands the emotional shift as well as the energy shift that has to happen for a public reading kind of situation. And I know sometimes people will dare somebody to get a reading, or they'll say, come on, come to me, come to the fair. You don't have to get in readings. And then when they get there, they suddenly decide they want to sample a palm reading, or especially by somebody that knows what they're doing. Most
Yeah.
people are vetted before they're allowed into a fair
Right.
and invited to be in a fair. And that can be fun. And we keep it fun. But 9 times out of 10, we'll get a call from those people that want to schedule a more in-depth conversation.
Right.
And the public, especially those that have never been to a fair, they don't understand what it takes for us to do the work for them and with them.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you brought it up that way. It is tiring.
It's exhausting.
You use the gym analogy. For me, it's usually not Monday because most fairs stop on a Sunday.
Right.
I have done Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday fairs and left on Tuesday. But for me, it's usually 24 hours later. I feel like I've been hit by a Mack truck.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, the fair ends on Sunday. Monday, I'm unpacking, resettling. I sleep maybe a little late as the cats will let me, and I'll be a little draggy. But by Tuesday, I'm out of it. And I call that my water day because I will have to drink water all day long.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really important to take care of yourself. Again, if you're in it for the community and not for yourself, you're setting yourself up for a really bad fall.
Yeah.
You can't do it that way. That's not, you have to be true to yourself first. You have to take care of yourself first. I take a lot of breaks. I mean, especially when I'm dealing with a really heavy, thick, dark, evil stuff. I mean, I'll get rid of one and I'll take 15 minutes to myself because I just need to do that. I mean, I just need to come back down into my body instead of staying up here all the time. And drink some water, go to the bathroom, pet the cat, let the dog out, whatever. And it just to ground, eat a piece of chocolate, whatever. And then I'll go back and do the next one. And yesterday, I had 4 really, really bad entities on one person. And it took, 2 hours just to get rid of those 4. And then I started the regular clearing. So there's a lot to this that people aren't understanding because they haven't experienced it and it's never been taught. And then that's totally legitimate. That's fine.
Right.
That's why you're listening to us, isn't it? So that you get an understanding of what you go through as a psychic, as a medium, as an entity doctor. Taking care of yourself, just even taking care of yourself can be challenging.
And then every now and then I'll have somebody sit down and they'll say, don't you need a break? Especially if they look over at the schedule and they see it's been pretty back to back.
Wow.
Do you need to go to the bathroom? Can I bring you some water? And I've had people like in groups where I'm doing 2 or 3 in a group, a couple of gals came and sometimes guys. And I'll do one and start on her friend because I usually sign up one right after the other or whoever it is. And all of a sudden I'll see this bottle of water or a cup of coffee, or one lady brought me a piece of cheesecake.
Wow.
Just sweet things because they understand.
Yeah.
It's not their first rodeo.
That's great. That's wonderful.
So you get both sides. And then there's every now and then there'll be the person who will see you folding up your tablecloth and say, do you have time for one more? My cards are put up, sweetie. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Here's my card. Call me. I'll be glad to do a 15-minute or 30-minute reading by phone. remind me, what was it, at the same price of the fare?
That's
That's
good.
how I handle that, because I appreciate them stopping.
Right.
But a lot of times they're serious. They want you to sit down, do a reading,
Yeah.
even though you've packed up your table. But that just tells me they're excited about what's happening. I'm okay with that, but there are those folks who really do not have an understanding that need to be taught, explained. So
Yeah.
their feelings aren't hurt when we say, no, sweetie, I can't.
Right.
That's why I do the call me and I'll do you the same price reading on the phone.
That's
I don't
cool.
mind doing that. Yeah.
And there's no real good place to learn this stuff, to learn about the energy, to learn about being in touch with the energy, to learn about talking to your guides and angels. That's huge. If you can talk to your guides and angels, you've got a distinct advantage over everybody else. You can get information and make your life the way you want it pretty easily. But there's nowhere to learn that. So that's what we're doing here. I'm hoping to get some videos out on that pretty soon. Of course, I've been saying that for
Please
a
do,
while.
and let us know when you do, so we'll know where to send folks.
Okay.
Yeah, everything you do, or anyone that I have a conversation with, I want them to give me feedback on what they're doing, where, when, if they've got something really special to them going on, if they've been booked to be on CNN, or I want to know so people
Wouldn't that be
can.
fun? Hey,
Wouldn't that be fun, right?
CNN.
Classes that are starting. That's why we have the library. That's why we're going to have a page with such things happening. This will be edited and dropped, but once people start coming into the podcast and listening, and it continues to grow, then there'll be what I'm calling a side page. Oh, be sure and check on Cindy's schedule, or put your schedule there.
Okay.
Or you've just released a podcast, or whatever you're doing.
Right.
I want the public to know about it so they can continue to learn. You're going to be doing a series of lessons. I feels like you're getting a psychic message here. If you hadn't already planned it, you're going to be doing a series of lessons, something like iTunes. Is that what they call it? I never can remember those platform names. And we want to know that so I can direct people to take those lessons from you.
Great. Thank you.
So yeah, so that's what the big part of what I want to do here, besides introducing the public and other practitioners to the shoulders they stand on.
Yes. Yes. And again, this takes a village. So,
Yep.
Elaine's a psychic. I'm a entity doctor. Again, there's so many different disciplines within the metaphysical realm. You will find your niche. You will find yours. And you will find the people that you want to work with, that as teachers or as practitioners, or listen to your angels. Your angels will guide you there. It's funny because there was a fair out of town that was supposed to be out of town, and the organizer was saying, you really need to come, you really need to come. And I'm thinking, well, let's see, if I took my crystals, I could probably get rid of them all out of my crystals there. And I said, what's the fixed cost if I did this and I did this and I did, and the more I thought about it, the more on the back of my head I heard, don't go, don't go,
Mhm.
don't go. And of course, in the front of my head, things are going. So if you ever have something going on in the front of your head, listen to the back of your head. I didn't go. Everything's fine. But
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that went different years, and the one year I went, I had car trouble, I had computer trouble, I had nothing but trouble, let's say. And another couple that I went, they hit a deer on the way home, so they were really hurt. And you really need to listen to that little voice. It's that whisper that's in the back of your head. And what people tend to do is, well, that's not logical. If I go, then I can sell this and I can do that and I can make this. And our logic takes over. Listen to that one, please.
Right.
Please listen to that one.
The particular fair you're talking about is about 6 hours from Austin, I think, unless
Yeah.
they've changed the roads. And I used to do it, but we did it more than once. The producer that's doing it now has chosen to be there only once a year. We used to do it when Latrell had it, I think twice a year.
Okay.
Every time I went, I got food poisoning. Every single time. every time, to the point that I could not get out of the back seat to have breakfast with the people that I was traveling with.
Oh,
I was so sick. I would be sick for a week. And sometimes on some of those trips, we would eat at a particular chain restaurant. So I think I changed what I ordered. It didn't matter
you weren't supposed to
every
be
time.
there. Yeah,
And
weren't
we
supposed to be
tried
there.
eating at different restaurants. Didn't matter. It was always what I ate Saturday night. I mean, Sunday night. Always what I ate just on Sunday. If we'd eaten on a place on Saturday, I didn't get sick. Ate on Sunday, I'd be sick for a week. Always. Couldn't
Wow.
lift my head up off the back seat. It was so weird. It was
And I
just
bet you can think of something in your past that's similar. And you think, oh, if I just listened to my angels, that would not have happened.
right.
And you can probably think of something in your past where you had that little voice and you disregarded it, right? So we're telling you as a psychic and an entity doctor, don't disregard it. Don't
Please, public, pay attention.
yeah,
And that's part of psychic training. That's one of the hardest things to get people to acknowledge, much less learn and trust, is listening to your gut, to your instinct. They'll say, well, is that my imagination? Or is that really my guides? I don't know my guides yet. I haven't met them. You have to, you said it a while ago, getting out of your own way.
right. I've
That's
always
a
heard you
hard,
with your head you overthink. With your heart you overfeel. The real intelligence is in your gut. Get out of your own way, get out of your own way, get into your gut.
that is an explanation of one of the chapters in your book. There is no there.
Okay. I love this. We're
That's
writing
a
the book.
great one. That's
This
a
is great.
great chapter. Yeah. And that one should be fairly upfront
Yes.
too,
Yes.
because it is. That is so true. As a practitioner, it is so true what you just said.
Right.
And as a teacher, I tell my people, I don't like to call them students. I don't, because so many of them come in without needing to be taught. They just need to be reminded of how to get out of their own way.
Right.
And as a tarot teacher, you don't teach the tarot. You teach people how to listen to the tarot and understand and try not to change the meanings. Every time I would hear one of them say, well, I believe this one means, no, it has a meaning already. Well, I interpret. No, you don't. Those two words are the hardest to get out of people's vocabulary
Mm-hmm.
and intent when it comes to learning, as I call it, the tarot. But people that came for tarot lessons, and it's still this way, woven into that is psychic awareness, spiritual awareness, quite often to the shock of the people in the class. And you said learning your own path. I'll tell people, you may think you want to read the cards, and hopefully you do, but by the time you leave the class, you may want to get involved in astrology, numerology. I
Mm-hmm.
have had students that have, there it is, there's that word, go on to totally detached. One right now is a wonderful up and coming dream interpreter.
Oh, nice.
She's dealing with symbols. Tarot cards are full of symbols
Right.
and
Yeah.
historic explanation. Our history, cultural histories, what are dreams?
Yes.
And she's a natural.
That's
I've
great.
had other people go into astrology, numerology, chakra. I mean, you name it. And they're all in the tarot card, but they got pulled to the tarot because that's where they'd see themselves.
Right. Like
Not as a
me
tarot
with Reiki. Yeah. Yeah.
right. That's like Reiki. And you have cards like the strength card that is a healing card. It represents healing. And if that card keeps coming up, then we have to talk about healing ability for that person. So
Yeah.
it's getting involved in one tool can so often lead you to where you need to be. And that
I'm
includes being an entity doctor.
yes.
Are you
I'm a
teaching?
certified angel card reader. But I kind of practice that like you practice with Reiki. It's a tool we have, but I don't really look at it. But I went to a reading one time and we were all, it's kind of like a share, and I got two ladies in a row and I got the same card for both of them. but the card meant totally different things for each one. And it's like when I was looking at the card for her, I was looking here, and the second one I was looking here. You know, it's a different parts of the card came forward for me. So, like
Yeah,
Elaine was saying, it's a symbol. It's what are you getting from that card, not what does the card mean in the book.
right. Well, the book's a good place to start, but I tell everybody, now you've taken my course, now go take another one. The meaning of the card is not going to change, but how you view it and you understand combinations and you open your psychic ability with whatever tool you're using. The tool is 50%, your psychic instinct is 50%.
Right.
And if you don't use both, you're kind of cheating your client. There
Yeah,
used
my
to be a
tool is
lady,
a pendulum, so I don't use cards very often, but the pendulum is always good for me. And other people don't like to use the pendulum, and that's fine. Whatever works for you is right.
I love pendulums. I think they're elegant, just elegant. I went to a psychic many, many years ago in New Mexico, and she was in her 80s, maybe even 90s by then. I've been doing this forever. She was of Indian descent, and she was American Indian, and she was just a fascinating lady, full of pep and energy. She never touched her pendulum. She had it in a glass box. Her husband had taken a round candle cover and cut both ends off and really embedded it he drilled a hole so it would fit on a wooden bottom. Now you can buy these things, but then you couldn't. And it had an open top. But when she wasn't using it, she put a wooden top on it. She never touched it. It had a hook on it. And she would get ready and she'd put her hand around the candle holder, the pendulum home, and then they'd start talking. But when I walked in the room, the pendulum started going in circles real fast. Dum, 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 just really, really fast. And she looked at me and she said, "You're a reader." I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And she said, "We're going to have fun." And we did. She never, and it would just, I've never seen a pendulum stop so fast. You know, usually they just kind of wind down if they're going to go forward or to the whatever they're going to do. Yes usually means one swing, no, another swing, and then you have the circle, and sometimes it vibrates like it doesn't know what it wants to do. And you're the expert. We'll have you come back and teach a pendulum class.
Yes, I love that.
But this particular, she never touched it. It just worked. She'd say, "Okay, ask." And it would start out with this vibration, and then the deal is you have to ask a pendulum. Well, she had me ask the pendulum questions very much and very distinct, like I do a 7-card yes or no. And she just sat back and watched it dance. And she was laughing the whole time.
That's
And
funny.
then she would tell me, she would use her psychic ability to explain what I needed to hear. She didn't leave it just as a simple yes or no.
Okay.
And several times that day, she said, "You're not supposed to know the answer to that yet. So write it down. Leave me a copy." She made a copy of what I wrote down and she put it in a file. And she said, "When you're ready to get the answer, I'll call you." And she did. And
Good.
she'd like things would come to her in a dream, or when she wasn't busy, she'd ask the pendulum, a question for somebody. I've never known anybody to use the pendulum that way.
Okay.
People say if you touch the pendulum, you're influencing it. And I don't agree with that at all. I've never agreed with that at all.
Okay.
I,
One thing I want to kind of clarify, and I really emphasize this in my class. When you're using a pendulum, you have to know who you're talking to. You're not talking to the rock. The rock
That's true.
don't know, okay? It's a rock. So I always ask guides and angels. Guides and
Mhm.
angels, okay? Guides and angels,
Mhm.
guides and angels, guides and angels. When you're learning to use a pendulum, you want to talk to your guides and angels. When you get better at it, you can talk to Archangel Michael, you can talk to Dead Uncle George, you can talk to whoever you want to. But for now, right now, you're talking to your guides and angels, okay? And I have people come to my table and they say, "My pendulum's lying to me. It's not working. It's fine." And I say, "Who are you talking to?" And they say, "The rock." And I said, why are you talking to a rock? That doesn't make any sense. So sorry, I just wanted to interject that because you say you ask the pendulum questions. If you're asking the pendulum questions, you can get lower energies, like the Ouija board energies. We don't want those. Those are going to mess you up every time. So be very, very careful who you're talking to. And every time I pick up my pendulum, I say, guides and angels, council of magic, dead Uncle George. I say who I'm talking to, okay? Because I want to connect with that energy each time. Well, you just ask them, same one a question. Why can't you just ask them again? Because I want to know who I'm talking to.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I didn't get to know her, but she was, and I'm sure she's gone by now. That was so long ago, but she did call me one time and gave me an answer. We had a lovely talk and she didn't charge me for it. She said, "No,
Right.
this is just something I do." So, we talked for about an hour and then we hung up and that was it. And I accepted the answer I got and went on with my life. And it was that's when I could hear it. I was
Beautiful.
not ready to hear it that the day that I sat down with her.
Right.
We were talking about the fairs a while ago, and I want the public to know that we truly are a community. And quite often at fairs, particularly, or events of any kind, we will be invited to join perhaps another group for dinner or something like that, rather, and even for breakfast. I used to meet a group of people for breakfast on Saturday mornings, not Sunday mornings, but Saturday mornings, sometimes on Sunday, because they want to get to know us and we have the opportunity to get to know them. And they're such wonderful mentors, especially people who have been in this field for a long time. And for a newbie to get to sit with somebody who's been doing the work for 40, 50 years is awesome.
That's a privilege. Yes, yes. And another thing I love about this industry is we're not all cutthroat and trying to steal each other's customers. We're very supportive of each other. We honor each other's differences. We honor each other's gifts. I've never seen such a loving group of people in all my life. So if you just want
Hmm.
to feel the love, go to a metaphysical fair and people should be the ones that are catty, the ones that are saying, oh, they don't go to them. Those are the ones that aren't real. They're not really the real deal. So be careful just so that you know that. But everybody else supports each other. And people are always asking me, who's the best? Who should I go see?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, let's walk around with a pendulum because your energy is different than mine. And who's the best for me may not be the best for you. Okay. So, and that's why there are so many fish in the sea here. I mean, there's so many people that you could possibly go to. And again, do I want an angelic? Do I want a shaman? Do I want a Wiccan? Do I want a Akashic Records reader? Do I want, it's endless. And so I know I'm confusing you now and I apologize, but you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Listen to your angels. They'll get you where you need to go.
Absolutely. I tell people, I ask them if they come up to my table and ask me a question, I'll say, "Did you just get here?" And a lot of times they'll say yes. And I'll say, "Well, go walk around the rooms a couple of times. Go and start clockwise, walk around counterclockwise. You'll pick up a different energy.
Right.
See who's reaching out to you, so to speak, energy wise. If you came here for a particular reading, sometimes I'll say, "Are you wanting a particular tool?" And sometimes they'll say one, and I'll say, "There's not anybody doing that. So at this fair, check with the producer, see if she has a phone number to share with you. Maybe that person just couldn't come this time. But then look for your second tool and see who reaches out to you." I rarely will say go to, or they're the only, oh, that there's only one reader here doing that. So your decision's been kind of taken away from you. But if they're here, they've been vetted, they're good at what they do, but see how they feel to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. We really can't. Ethically, we're not supposed to do that anyway, but it really is an encouragement to train them to trust their energy,
Right.
their instincts as well. And it's a subtle thing, and they usually don't realize that, but that's what we're doing with them. But it's good. But I'll always tell them, go walk around. You just got here. Oh, is there a lecture you want to see? Check your lecture sheet. They start at 12. So go to a
Perfect.
lecture, especially if you're interested in that subject. Maybe you'll get a reading from that person.
Right. Perfect.
Fairs are fun to go to if you just let them be. They don't have to be a scary thing. And they're
No.
a great way to pick up phone numbers and cards and be educated and buy a pretty every now and then. Whether it's
Exactly.
a tiny rock or a piece of clothing, or I just
Jewelry.
bought the cutest jewelry. Amen. I bought the cutest bag not long ago. She wasn't at the last fair. I was sorry that she wasn't. Now, public, don't be offended. The bag is a cream colored bag, and it says, "There's not enough sage for this shit." I stood there because I have a girlfriend who believes in saging everything, everything. And it's kind of a joke between us. She has a hangnail, she'll sage that sucker. So I had to buy it for her,
That's funny.
So, I'm going to buy some sage, and that's going to be one of her joke Christmas presents. But
Good.
yeah, it's things like that you can go and just have a good time with.
Cool.
Just have a good time.
That's good.
We've what else would you like to tell us about Reiki?
It's wonderful. I mean, if you haven't experienced Reiki, I do encourage you to do so. Again, you can do remote Reiki. I do remote Reiki, and with all the energy included, it's not expensive. If you find somebody locally that you like, absolutely use them. Reiki is kind of like a massage. You don't do it once and done. You keep doing it to keep your vibration within the harmony of the universe. It's because something's going to happen, your vibration is going to do that. So have it done regularly, monthly, or whatever works for you, every 6 months or weekly, whatever you want to do, whenever you feel off. When you have something that threw you off, making a Reiki appointment, it'll help you re-establish your footing and get back on track. So it's not magic. It is energy from the universe. It can't hurt you. It can only help you. And it's very subtle. It is not like wow, that was really cool. It isn't that way. It's very subtle. It's very, oh, now I feel so much lighter. Now I feel so much calmer. So, and a lot of this metaphysical work is that way. It's very, very little of it is hit you in the face kind of stuff. Most of it is very, wow, now I feel really good. So enjoy it. Try it yourself if you want to. Take a Reiki class if you want to. Just know that there are going to be ups and downs. You're going to have to get your energy adapted, but it is a really good way to help you raise your vibration if that's what you're interested in doing. And if you are interested in raising your vibration, you don't know how to do it. It's addressed in my book, Becoming the Entity Doctor, available on Amazon. If you want to know if you have any entities, come to my website, theentitydoctor.com, and take the quiz and see whether you need to have a consultation, whether you might have an entity. Because if you are trying to raise your vibration and move on, you need to get rid of those first, or you can't fly. It's like flying with a cement on your feet. So,
How do you feel about people contacting you directly for appointments, or do you want them to do that online somewhere?
online, yes, definitely
And
online. Yes.
And where would they do that?
Okay, so my website, you can make a consultation appointment at COME, stand in the light, comestandinthelight.com. And there's a lot of information about what I do, all of my different services. I do Reiki and Entity Doctor. I also do animal communication. I also do readings. I also do coaching and training. If you want to learn more and you resonate with my energy, then by all means, I do have packages where you pay for 5, you get 6 sessions, either 30 or 60 minutes. Tune-up sessions after you're cleared of any entities. You can do that so you stay clear. So I either one, comestandinthelight.com or theentitydoctor.com if you want to take the quiz.
Yay! You have given us so much to think about.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun. I appreciate it.
Oh, you are more than welcome. Thank you for taking the time, because I know you're a busy lady. I know you're a busy lady.
Thank you.
Oh, do you have some more crystals that people might be interested in purchasing? You have Himalayan salt lamps. You're still
I have,
diverse in
yes.
your
Yeah, if you go to
inventory.
comestandthelight.com and you go to the bottom, the footer, it'll say crystal shop. And I have all kinds of crystals. In person, they're on sale. I'm thinking about sending out to my email group. So if you want to sign up for my newsletter, you will get a discount coupon when I'm ready to do that, which is going to be probably really soon. So don't wait. Sign up now, because we want to give you a discount code where you get up to 50% off a crystal. And it's the
That's
heavy.
a lot, 50%, especially the quality stuff that you have.
Thank
That's
you. Yeah.
amazing.
I
Yeah.
love it. I pick out all my crystals by hand. I make sure they're the right energy. I clear them on selenite. I do a lot with my crystals. They're not. I'm not just a crystal shop. I'm a kind of a special crystal shop. So
A very special crystal shop.
thank you.
That's how I met Cindy. I met Cindy at a psychic fair with all these lights,
Yes.
Himalayan lights. You could feel them
Yeah.
all the way across the room. It was great.
Yeah, I've been the salt lamp lady for years. Nobody knows I have any gifts.
Well, now you're getting out there, girl.
Thank you. Thanks to you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you're
that.
getting out there. We're going to wrap this up. So we're going to say goodbye for now to Cindy Hallett. You know how to find her now. So from Conversations with the Ancients and Elaine Ireland and Cindy, we're going to say goodbye for now.
Thank you.
For now. Bye-bye, sweetie.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into the Conversations with the Ancients, where we take you on a journey where you'll hear voices of metaphysicians from the past, as well as today's spirit mediums, healers, and others who show you a side of the paranormal you've never seen before. Remember to visit our website at conversationswiththeancients.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on Conversations with the Ancients.